Welcome back, everyone. The midterm elections are finally here, and Republicans are predicting a massive red wave, with some pressing into Democratic strongholds such as New York, California, and Washington. But what's at stake if leadership shifts in the House or Senate? Yahoo Finance's Jennifer Schonberger has the details. Jen, on over to you. What is expected here?
Brad, with midterm elections Tuesday across the country, polls are showing that Republicans are likely to win the House, but the Senate remains a toss-up. So what will this mean for the legislative agenda? Well, for starters, in the House, chairmanship of the House Financial Services Committee would flip to Republican Patrick McHenry. McHenry is likely to scrutinize the Securities and Exchange Commission. He opposes the commission's climate change disclosures for public companies and says several SEC proposals fall outside the agency's jurisdiction. McHenry also wants to regulate stablecoins. He's been working with current chairwoman Maxine Waters on legislation that would limit issuance to banks and non-banks that accept liquidity oversight. Now, if the Senate were to flip, the Senate Banking Committee would be overturned to Republicans, with Senator Tim Scott as chair. The senator would pursue his opportunity agenda that pushes economic empowerment for working class people, with policies that foster adoption of innovative policies and workforce development programs. Now, when it comes to crypto, Scott is essentially a blank slate. Overall, if Republicans gain control, they'd look to defund a portion of Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, which boosts the IRS and funds climate change. Some Republicans are willing to dangle the possibility of defaulting on the federal debt to force policy changes from President Biden. And Republicans' first piece of legislation, an energy independence bill that would create more permitting for extracting fossil fuels and restart construction on that Keystone XL oil pipeline, though Biden could veto that. With Republicans gaining control of the House, that could also take off the table a new reconciliation package, which is what Democrats tried to use last year to enact the first-time buyer tax credit. Bottom line here, guys, Republican wins in either of the House or the Senate would result in a divided government, which would spell gridlock. That means any major policy legislative piece of legislation would probably be thwarted unless President Biden would support it. Back to you.
Jen, anything else you're watching here?
Obviously, we're one day before Election Day here, Brian. And so Republicans continuing to hit the pavement hard, focusing on the economy, which appears to be top of mind for voters, really pushing the inflation issue here. Democrats, for their part, still trying to hone in on the overturning of Roe v. Wade and trying to use this election as a referendum on abortion rights. So we'll see how things shake out. But again, it looks like the Republicans likely to take the House, the Senate remaining a toss-up. It could actually be a couple of weeks before we know the final results, depending on some of these independent races. Back to you.
All right, Jennifer Schonberger, thanks so much.